Hello there, and welcome back to the Nightmare Cabin. And hello, stranger, if this is your first video. This is a new Let's Talk About video, and I'll kind of go back and forth really. I get a band that's been going for quite a while. It's got quite a long catalogue, and I like to go through the albums and you know, analyse the evolution, I suppose. But also I did a video with Tribe of Pazuzu where, you know, a band with 2 EPs. So yeah, you can take on, if I think there's a band worth talking about in a great length, then that's what these videos will be for. So this is going to be a fairly still new band really, and yeah, this is a band that's caught my attention lately, and I think I was a little late to the party, to be honest. Their second album came out right on the arse end of last year. I had already pretty much decided my top 10 and all the rest of it, and I wasn't quite convinced at first, but when, you know, it clicked big time. So this is Eternal Champion, and this is the new album. Now, one thing as well it makes sense for me to do this video is because this is I've covered all the members of this band, previous bands I've covered before. So if you're a long time viewer of the channel, if you've been watching from the beginning, you'd remember I did a underrated video for Iron Age, this album, The Sleeping Eye, and I had the LP down there somewhere with a better artwork. And if you remember as well, I did the video with Percy where we swap albums. He gives me an album, I give him an album, and I suggested Sleeping Eye to Percy. We're going to be doing more of those, by the way, so it's just finding a time when we're both off. So, right, this is important to get. So you got the vocalist of Iron Age, and also if you remember the Winter Listens songs, the Winter Listens video I did, the band Summerlands. Now this Eternal Champion is the singer of Iron Age. The guitarist, bassist and drummer were in Summerlands, and you've also got the guitarist from Power Trip. I think, and then you've got, I'll cover it all in a minute actually, I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. So first off really, Eternal Champion is, I mean obviously, look at that album cover, you know where this is going. Think, obviously Manowar comparisons are being flown around, and they've got a lot more in common with Manila Road, to be quite honest. But obviously the aesthetic and everything brings along Manowar, but I'll be honest, I'm not that big a fan of Manowar, but I'm a big fan of Manila Road, so that kind of gives you the idea, but we'll dive into the music in a sec. So yeah, so Iron Age, Summerlands. Iron Age break up, and then in between you've got a band called Gravenright, which has, yeah, it is just the one member of Iron Age, but you've got so this is kind of like the bridge really between Iron Age and then what would become Eternal Champion. And if you can get hold of it, this is a really good EP, and yeah, real good, catchy, just good heavy metal really. And yeah, I would say if you do really like Eternal Champion, consider picking this up as a stopgap release. So what, this was basically a new band after Iron Age, so it's kind of an evolution from Iron Age, but we're not quite in Eternal Champion yet. So this is, it kind of just slots in the middle. And if you are, I mean, again, when I first heard of them, I didn't realise the guy from Iron Age was in them. So to go from that to that, it's a pretty big leap, but that kind of makes everything make sense, if you will. Now, Jason Tarpey, his vocals, he is a complete vocal style change. In Iron Age, he's a hardcore singer. He's doing, you know, the hardcore, you know. This he is singing pure And what a transition as well is all I can say. What else have we got to cover? Yeah, so that's that. So then we got Eternal Champion. Now what you've got mainly is these two albums, which we'll cover in a sec. And you've got a couple of little odds and sods in between. So you've got a couple of, well, you've got a demo and a couple of singles. Now the demo and the singles you can get on this release here. This is really worth getting as well because the booklet is quite, that's awesome artwork as well. Can you make that out a bit? And this is with a band called Gatekeeper. Gatekeeper's good stuff is really good as well. So yeah, your odds and sods, your singles and your demo and that. This is those songs are actually collected. They're obviously released separately, but then they're all collected here on this split. And there's a few bonus tracks as well. So yeah, everything's collected here. Then in between the albums, they released 2 cassettes that were only available on their merch stands, and that was between these 2 albums. But we'll cover that in a minute. And they're not really essential. They're a limited edition, and you can get the songs on Bandcamp like as a download, but they're not essential. They're for completion only. So we'll dive into the first album. I think I made a few notes here actually. So we got opening track, I Am the Hammer. Fucking awesome. It gets that, you know, that fist pumping, dun 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 dun, dun, you know, that good little rhythm. And tell you what it's similar to is "Stranger from a Strange Land" by Iron Maiden. You get that dun 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 dun, dun, you know, and so it's like dun 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 dun, dun, and he gives it this. They're like Sabotage. What's his name? Oh bollocks! What's the guy from Sabotage? John Oliver. You know when he just does that random. You know, he does that, but it fucking works, and it's just when it just kicks in. I am das, I am the hammer. Fucking awesome! It's just what's so good about this is that it's, especially in the times we're in at the moment, this has just been pure escapism, and it's just good fun, and it's not too corny either. It just has that right, the porridge is just right, shall we say. And right, on the second song though, you've got in fact it's playing in now. This is where the Summerlands, when I realised, right, we're listening to Summerlands now, because Summerlands, they had this sort of melodic shredding, so it's like dan, 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 you know, a bit like what Randy Rhoads used to do. I think Randy Rhoads' style of playing. Randy Rhoads wasn't exactly like a fresh metal guitarist or anything, but he had a real good quick picking, but he kept it melodic. That's what this is like, and it's also got the haunting melodies that Summerlands had. As that song, The Armour of Ire, kicks in, and then that. But what's really cool is that you have this synthesizer over it, and it just hangs over the top. So while this shredding's going on, this melody just goes over the top, and it's like a layer of mist over mountains, shall we say. It's not really thin, but it's just there. You can just see it, and that's how this synthesizer is. It just plays along, but it's such a nice touch. And the Cold Sword as well. It's got like this gallopy riff, again, pretty much like Maiden. I mean, again, the Manowar comparisons, I think you've got a lot more in common with Maiden from a musical point, but obviously Summerlands comes into it big time. And Summerlands, I think the best way to describe them was, imagine if Ozzy wasn't fired from Sabbath and they got Dio. Imagine they got rid of Tony and Randy Rhoads joined Sabbath. Think of that, like that. But yeah, a lot of good shredding riffing, but like real just really nice melodies that go over the top of it, and they're haunting melodies as well. They stick in your head. And as much as Maidens comes into it, think of Thin Lizzy. Think like songs like Emerald and things like that, Massacre, when he's talking about wars and stuff like that. Invoker as well. It's kind of like a ballad, really. Think like Last in Line by Dio. You know, it starts off quiet. You got like it starts off nice and mellow, and then sort of kicks into the dun 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 bam, you know, and then it goes into a bit of a mid-paced groove, really. And then instant catchy riff of is it Sing a Last Song of Valdez. That's got a real instant. The riff you just recognise straight away, and it's got a real anthemic chorus, and like really, Jason holds this note at the end. It's really cool as well. And yeah, and then that's one thing I've got to cover as well. So the last track of this, Shadegate, is a ambient. They do these sort of ambient sort of. Do you want to say dungeon synth? Should we say that? Let's say dungeon synth. But yeah, real nice ambient sort of keyboardy music with a. Sometimes you get like a nice little guitar riff over the top. But both albums have got a track like that. And then right, so what we'll come to is the 2 cassettes that they did in between. So they released their first album, which is this one, the Armour of Ire. I think it's Ire, IRE. And then when's the split? So the split came out just before this album, and this Everything You Need demo and single wise is on there. Plus you've got the stuff from Gatekeeper, which is also worth a listen. So this is definitely worth getting, but get this last. Get the albums first, and if you want to go further, get that as a completion piece, and then track down these next 2 cassettes that I'm about to tell you about. Get the downloads on Bandcamp. So right, so this is out, all well and good, and then 2 cassettes get put out. Parallel with Death, which is 2 covers. You've got 2 songs, The Destroyer by Legend and Awakened by the Dawn by Mystic False. I don't know either of those songs, the original ones. They sound alright to me. They sound like Eternal Champion songs, quite frankly. So I'm guessing they're either A, faithful covers, or they've kind of just done their own thing with it, really. And then, this is most interesting, they put out another one called Terminus Est. I think it is. Yeah, Terminus Est. Now this is 2 instrumentals. Apparently the guitarist did it himself over a weekend. They had some gigs to do and they wanted to sell something on a merch stand, and they just put together a limited edition cassette to sell at the merch stand. But yeah, so you've got these 2 again, it's on a synthesizer with a bit of guitar here and there, but again it builds up the whole atmosphere and sort of aesthetic of the world that this band is building. So I think there's certain tracks that all join up into one long story, and there's also individual songs, but I think it's all building one world, and that world actually started being built on The Sleeping Eye by Iron Age. This goes right back all the way through Iron Age. Is it Raven's Guide or something? Raven's, what did I say it was? Graven Right. There you go, I was halfway there. So yeah, it all kind of continues through. It's all evolved. So this is what's interesting about it. So yeah, it's just worth checking out. I'll leave it like that. So, and then yeah, just before Christmas, we got the new album, Raven in Iron. And what's cool with this is you also now get this book, The Godblade. That's the second from last track there, and this actually was the artwork to this. I don't know if he did the album as well, but the album for the book is let's have a quick look. he did the Kiss album covers. I'm trying to look it up here, sorry. Yeah, Ken Kelly. Yeah, he did the Kiss and Manowar album covers. Now, I actually read this last night through a whole night shift. It's not that big, you know, and look at the... you get some cool... Again, this is just a nice little completion piece, you know. You got... everyone's selling everything now, you know. I thought this was just a cool... If they're doing this whole world building thing on the albums, it'd be a nice... It's nice to have a book that kind of joins it all together. And obviously that's going to be going forward. They're going to be doing that as well. I can't see anything wrong with that. What's that band? Is it Coheed and Cambria? Didn't they do that? Didn't they put out comic books or something to join everything up? I know Rush's last album as well. Is it the Clockwork Angels? There was a book about that. It was Neil Peart and some sci-fi writer. I forget the guy's name. But that type, you know, that kind of opened that album up as well a lot. And I think it's a cool thing. I mean, I'd love it if Maiden did it or something. You know, you always get these bands put out comic books and whatnot, and like I say, if it extends it all, then great. Anyway, this just everything that's built upon on the first album is just that's the starting point going forward, and it's just bigger and better, really. The first 3 songs, it's just out the gate. The Face in the Glare is the same sort of thing. It's got that dun 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 dun, dun, you know, and oh, the chorus as well. The I'm just going to quickly bring the lyrics up, but red demonic eyes, the wild whipping claw. In the glare of my cell, still I see the face of a god. Dun 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 dun. It's fucking awesome. And the title track, Raven and Iron, same sort of thing with the whole riffing, with the nice little melody going over the top. There's a really cool bit in the thing at the end as well, where it's the crowd singing along. So it's like a whoa, and again, you're just picturing the live show now. You're getting these little sections now where it's like a whoa, and you know the crowd are going to be singing along, microphone in the air. He's got this thing as well where he holds up a hammer and he holds up a sword, and it's just going to be, the potential's great. And then Skull Seeker, fucking hell, that is going to be an anthem, and it's just an instantly catchy, instantly memorable, pure slice of just heavy metal. That's all I can really say to you. Worms of the Earth as well. Again, quite a Manila Road style song, but awesome stuff. And then obviously the Godblade, which is what this is based on, is another sort of ambient-y Dungeon and Dragons seat. Do you remember that Shadow of the Beast? Do you remember that? And what was the other? Golden Axe. You get the idea. It's all coming together. But yeah. Now, as much as you can compare, I said this about. Let me get the focus. Sorry. I said this about. I did a video recently about Frozen Soul. You sort this glare out. Sorry. Let's get this camera to focus. You can. Being compared to a band is one thing, but you need to be clear that you're influenced by the band, but you're doing your own thing. And if you're just going to do a repeat of another band, I'll tell you one thing actually, because there's a lot of bands at the moment that are doing this whole classic metal thing, new wave of heavy metal, and they're kind of just regurgitating the late 70s and early 80s, but it sounds like a parody. It sounds like a piss take. And very few bands I actually like. I did quite like a band, I forget their name now, it was their second album, doesn't matter, but a band like Honk at the moment, they're doing really well, don't get me wrong, but again, I was listening to them and I just felt cold at the end of it. I just wanted to, it's like you're reminding me of Angel Witch, now I just want to listen to Angel Witch. I don't get that with Eternal Champion. These songs, these melodies, the vocal melodies and vocal lines, the riffs, the leads. Oh, there's some blistering solos on these, by the way, as well. This camera's pissing me off. Bear with me. And yeah, you may think, oh, this is. It might remind you a bit of Maiden, or maybe a bit of thing, even maybe in a bit of Priest, but it never just flat out sounds like those bands. When I compare this band to Priest or Maiden, I'm saying they're fit to walk alongside those bands. You know, they're fit to walk us along Manowar, Manila Road. They deserve to be opening for those bands. And I read an interview with Jason recently, and they're saying, "Oh yeah, we're not going to be a big touring band. We're not going to be a full-time band," and that's a shame, because I think the potential here is massive, and I do think they've got, with a decent agent and a decent bit of budget in their show, the sky's the limit what they could do with the aesthetics of the live show, and in these 2 albums and in these, you know, your little singles and that, the possibilities are endless of what they can do with this, because obviously they're building a world, so there's so much they can do with the story, and there's so much that they can expand upon musically, especially since they're doing the heavy metal on one side and they do this little ambient-y dungeon synth thing on the side as well. And there we go, focus, we got there. So yeah, I'm just really looking forward to where this is going and what they can do. I mean, when these guys finally do their Rime of Ancient Mariner, fucking hell, it's going to be amazing. I mean, because in these 2 albums, they're not particularly long. I mean, Ravening Iron is 37 minutes and Armour of Ire is 34 minutes. So yeah, both under 40 minutes. But yeah, I can imagine when they do a full concept album, or even if they just do like a 12-minute epic, or there's just so much that can, there's lots going on, and there's so much more that can come off it. And I think this is real. I'm really excited for this band. This band are absolutely awesome. And these songs are getting stuck in my head. I'm singing them in my sleep, and I'm really excited about this band. And yeah, had I listened to this a bit earlier, this would have been in the top 10, definitely. So yeah, I think that's about it. It's kind of like Melissa and Don't Break the Oath, or Heaven and Hell and Mob Rolls, or Iron Maiden and Killers. This is a 1-2 punch. This is, it can play like one album. So when you go it, which one's better? It's like, what are you just going to buy one? You need both. Get both. However, this is the better album of the 2. This camera's playing up again. This is the better album of the 2, but I would say start with this one. This one's a bit more accessible. This one's a bit more kind of meets you halfway, while this album, they are fully formed, fully fledged, and this album is on their terms really. This one's a bit more of a leaner listen as well. It's a bit more reined in a bit, while this one's a bit more all over. But both of them are awesome. I mean, I'll probably say my 6 favourite songs is kind of 3 and 3. But yeah, Eternal Champion, definitely worth your time. Just classic, timeless, well done, with passion, just fucking glorious heavy metal. That's all you. It's fantastic. What more do you want? So yeah, go check them out. Eternal Champion, your new favourite band. See you next time.